I'm Alex, 28 years old. If you'd asked me a month back, I'd have said my family was, at worst, just a little bit off kilter. You know, the usual Thanksgiving jabs that don't really cut too deep. My mom clearly favoring my younger sister Emily, and my dad clueless about basically everything. Annoying? Sure thing. Unbearable? Nah, not really. But then Emily's wedding rolled around, and something hit me. My family doesn't just play favorites, they have a chosen one. And, spoiler alert, that ain't me. Let me give you some background. Emily's 25, and saying she's been treated like a queen her whole life wouldn't even be going far enough. I'm talking about the girl who threw a fit at 16 because my parents got me a used car, and she wanted a brand new one when she turned 16 too. And guess what happened? She got her darn brand new car. She's the golden child, the princess, the one who can do no wrong, even when she's way wrong. Me? I was just the older kid who had to be a good role model, which basically meant I had to do everything right, but didn't get any of the glory. If I got a B or a near A on a test, my mom would shake her head and say, "Alex, you can do better." Meanwhile, if Emily scraped by with a C, out came the balloons and cake. Anyway, I knew I wasn't gonna be the center of attention at Emily's wedding. Of course not. It was her wedding, and I was happy to just support her, smile for the photos, and get through the day without any big scenes. But what I didn't see coming, what I couldn't have possibly imagined, was how far they'd go to make sure I knew exactly where I stood in the family pecking order. The signs were there from the start. First off, I found out I wasn't in the wedding party. Fine, whatever. Not everyone has their siblings as bridesmaids or groomsmen. Then, it turned out Emily's childhood best friend, her coworker, and her fiancé's cousin's girlfriend were all in the wedding party. Okay, that stung a bit. But hey, maybe she just wanted to mix things up. Then, there was the seating chart. Now, I didn't expect to be sitting at the head table, obviously. That's for the happy couple and their wedding party. But I figured I'd at least be sitting with my family, you know, the people I've shared DNA and holidays with my whole life. Nope, not happening. When I got to the place, picked up my card, I realized something. My name wasn't with my folks, my aunts, or my cousins. Matter of fact, I couldn't find my name on the seating chart at all. I had to ask someone where I was supposed to sit. A wedding planner checked her list and gave me this tight, fake smile. "Oh, Alex, you're, right here." She pointed, I looked, and that's when I saw it. My seat wasn't in the fancy ballroom, where the chandeliers sparkled and the tables were decked out. It was out in the hallway, near the coat rack. At first, I actually laughed. I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. Like, maybe they ran out of chairs. But nope, that was my assigned spot. A sad little table by the entrance, just me and the faint smell of mothballs from people's winter coats. I turned to the wedding planner, still grinning like an idiot cause my brain was having a hard time processing what was going on. "You're kidding, right?" She looked mega uncomfortable. "I'm really sorry, but that's where you're assigned to sit." Assigned? Like I was a con getting assigned a jail cell. I wasn't even ticked off yet. I was still trying to figure it out. Was this some kind of practical joke? Some weird wedding tradition I'd never heard about? I needed answers, and I knew exactly who to ask. I tracked down Emily near the bridal suite, just soaking up the attention and being the bride, surrounded by her friends and our mom, who was busy doting on her dress. She spotted me coming and gave me the cheesiest smile you ever did see. "Oh hey, you made it." I held up my seating assignment. "Yeah. Quick question. Why is my spot not in the party room?" She blinked, then actually giggled. Like a little kid giggled. "Oh, that. Yeah, we had to shuffle some things around at the last minute." Uh-huh. And I just happened to be the one who got moved? To the hallway? Emily just shrugged, like it was no big deal. I mean, yeah. We had to make sure our real family was at the main tables. I blinked. I am real family. That's when my mom, who had been pretending not to hear anything, cut in with a syrupy voice. Now, Alex, don't start a scene. It's Emily's special day. I'm not starting a scene. I'm asking why I'm sitting with the Coates. And then, oh man, then Emily dropped the line that officially made this the worst wedding ever. Well, you aren't really immediate family anymore. I just stared at her, trying to figure out what that even meant. Excuse me? She shrugged again, fixing her veil like she was bored to death. You moved out years ago. You never come around that much. And, you're not married or anything. It's just different now. I don't even know how to describe the feeling that hit me then. It wasn't just being mad. It was something heavier, something cold. I wasn't immediate family anymore. Because I had the nerve to grow up and live my own life. Because I wasn't married. Before I could even say anything, another voice jumped in. And that's when I saw her. Emily's soon-to-be mother-in-law. I hadn't talked to her much before that day, but the second she showed up, I knew exactly what type of person she was. The type who loved drama, thrived on it, and lived to start trouble. She looked at me, smirking a little. Oh, you're Alex? I was wondering who was gonna be sitting in that spot. I forced a smile. Yep, that's me. The sibling who doesn't count, apparently. Emily's Emile chuckled and gave me a once-over, her face all full of fake pity. Well, you know how weddings are. Only the most important people get the best seats. That's when it all started to make sense. This wasn't just Emily's idea. Her new mother-in-law was loving this. And suddenly, it all clicked. It wasn't a seating mistake. It wasn't just some slip-up. It was on purpose. And the second that hit me, something inside me flipped. I wasn't gonna just sit there quietly through this wedding. And for sure, I wasn't leaving without saying something. I took a long, deep breath, squeezing the seating assignment in my hand. All right. If that's how they wanted to play, fine. But they forgot one thing. I grew up with Emily. I knew her secrets. I knew all the dirt she talked behind people's backs. And the best part? I knew she couldn't stand her new mother-in-law. Oh, she'd smiled right to her face, acted all sweet. But behind closed doors? It was a whole different story. And right now, I had a crowd. I turned to Emily's Emile, faking my best sympathetic face. You know, it's kind of funny. Just the other day, Emily was stressing about the seating arrangements so much. Emily, who'd been looking at her nails like she was bored, suddenly went stiff as a board. The Emile raised an eyebrow. Oh. I nodded, keeping my voice casual like we were talking about the weather. Yeah, she was a total mess. Kept saying she didn't want certain people sitting too close to the head table. I let those words sink in, then leaned in a little closer, like I was letting the Emile in on a juicy little secret. Something about not wanting her wedding photos ruined by, what was it, Emily? I looked back to my sister, tilting my head, acting like I couldn't remember. Oh, right. By someone's tacky dress sense. The little group went quiet. Emily's fake grin disappeared in a flash. Excuse me? Emily's face went white as a sheet. Hey, Alex. But I wasn't done yet. Oh. And remember how worried you were about the speeches. You were totally stressed about what certain people would say. I gave the Emile a pointed look. I think you said something like, if she gives a speech, I'm gonna lose it. She's so embarrassing. She'll make the whole thing about herself. Emily's Emile was starting to fume. Emily made a weird noise, reaching for my arm. Can I talk to you a second? I stepped back, acting all confused. Why? I thought we were having a family talk. Since I'm not immediate family, I figured I'd try to get in on it somehow. The Emile turned to Emily, her eyes narrow like slits. Is that true? Emily gave a shaky laugh, shaking her head. No. Of course not. Alex is just... I cut her off. Oh. And can't forget about the bachelorette party. I gasped like I just remembered the most important thing in the world. Silly me. I can't believe I almost forgot. I turned back to the Emile. You know, the one where Emily spent half the night complaining about you? Said she was counting down the days until she didn't have to be nice anymore? Said she was only putting up with you because she didn't want drama to start her marriage off with drama? That was it. That was the knockout punch. The Emile's mouth dropped open. My mom, who'd been standing off to the side, looked like she was gonna pass out. Even my dad, who hadn't caught on to anything yet, actually took a step back like he wanted to pretend he wasn't part of this train wreck. Emily's friends, the bridesmaids, started whispering and exchanging wide-eyed looks. Meanwhile, Emily looked like she was about to burst. Her lips were moving, but she couldn't get a word out. And then, the Emile turned on her. You ungrateful little brat. I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. Oh man, this was gonna be good. You think you can just use me? The Emile's voice was sharp and angry. After everything I've done for you, all the money I've spent on this wedding, the favors I've pulled. She waved her arms around the room, her perfectly polished nails sparkling under the lights. And all this time, you've been talking about me behind my back? Emily started to stutter. I didn't dash. The Emile turned to my parents. Did you know about this? Did you raise her to be such a two-faced snake? My mom looked like she was about to pass out. Of course not. Emily would never dash. Oh, don't even try, I said, shaking my head. You absolutely knew. You just didn't care. I faked a sigh. I mean, you did raise her to think she was the most important person in the world. So it makes sense that she'd start treating everyone else like dirt, right? Mom's face twisted up in anger. Alex, stop it! Why? I asked, crossing my arms. Because I'm causing a scene? Huh, it's funny how that's only a problem when I'm the one talking. Didn't seem to matter when Emily pretty much kicked me out of the reception. By now, everyone was staring. The whispers were getting louder. Guests were turning their heads and talking among themselves. Even the groom, who'd been MIA this whole time, finally wandered over, looking confused. What's going on? The Emile turned on him next. What's going on is that your wife's a two-faced liar who's been disrespecting my family this whole time. The groom blinked, looking lost. Wait, what? The Emile pointed at Emily, who looked like she wanted to disappear. She's been talking trash about me for months, complaining about my dress, my speech, my just being here, saying she's just putting up with me until she doesn't have to anymore. The groom slowly turned to Emily. Did you actually say that? Emily shook her head like crazy. No. I mean, well, not exactly like that. The Emile scoffed. Oh, not exactly like that. Oh, please. And here I was, thinking you actually cared about being part of this family. And just like that, the place turned into a battlefield. The Emile and Emily were shouting at each other. Mom was trying to play peacemaker, which wasn't working at all. Dad looked like he wanted to jump in the lake and disappear. The groom just stood there, like someone had punched him in the gut. And me? I was just standing there, watching the chaos, sipping my champagne like I was at a live performance. And honestly, it was kinda beautiful. But the best part? The absolute icing on the cake? I wasn't done yet. Emily's voice was getting higher and higher, her hand shaking as she turned to her dash. New husband. You believe her over me? she shrieked, waving her hands at me. Her husband, bless his heart, was still trying to catch up. His jaw was tight, and he looked like he was stuck between disbelief and being totally mortified with everyone staring at them. "I don't even know what to say, Emily," he mumbled, rubbing his forehead. "I mean, did you say that stuff?" Emily scoffed. "It's all being taken out of context." I raised an eyebrow. "Out of context? Oh, right. That old trick." I made my voice all high-pitched and whiny. "Oh no, I was just kidding. Air quotes, oh no, I didn't mean it like that." Then I dropped the act. "Give it up, Emily. You got caught. And honestly, even if I hadn't said anything, you still wouldn't have cared." The MIL, who was now fuming, turned to my parents. "And you're okay with this? Just letting her do this?" Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She looked like she desperately needed to say something to fix things. "We don't condone. Oh, cut it out," I interrupted, waving my hand dismissively. "You totally knew she felt that way, and you still let her pretend to be the perfect daughter-in-law." I clucked my tongue. "Guess it's all about keeping up appearances, huh?" Emily screamed. "You're ruining my wedding, Alex." I looked around with a flourish. "Oh, I'm ruining it. Sorry, didn't realize I was the one treating family like garbage and talking trash about the mother of the groom." I turned to the guests, who were all wide-eyed and staring. "What do you guys think? Who's really to blame here?" A few people looked away, not wanting any part of it. But one of the bridesmaids, Emily's own bridesmaid, whispered something to the woman next to her. "And that woman?" She started to laugh. That just made Emily angrier. "You think this is funny?" she hissed, spinning around to face them. The bridesmaid's lips twitched. "I mean a little, yeah." Oh, this was fantastic. Emily's hands clenched into fists. But before she could explode again, I decided to call it a night. Frankly, I was getting bored. I let out a big sigh, shaking my head. "Well, this has been lovely, really. Just a great time had by all. But I think it's time for me to get out of here." Emily scoffed, throwing her hands up in the air. "Fine. Go." I grinned. "Oh, don't worry. I will." Then I headed for the gift table, looking over all the fancy gifts piled up there. And then I saw it. My gift. The one I'd spent weeks picking out. The one that took effort, thought, and, more importantly, money. Emily saw where I was looking, and her eyes got huge. "Alex!" "No!" I strolled over, humming to myself, and grabbed my gift off the table. Emily's jaw dropped. "Are you seriously taking it back?" I looked at her, dead serious. "Why would I leave it? Apparently, I'm not real family, remember?" I faked a gasp. "Oh my God! What if I accidentally contaminated it with my peasant germs? Can't have that tainting your perfect marriage, can we?" Emily's face turned a dangerous shade of red. "You're such dash. A child." I shrugged, tucking the gift under my arm. "Maybe. But at least I'm not a fake, lying, two-faced brat who pretends to be sweet and then stabs everyone in the back." I turned to the MIL, whose face was still red with anger. "Hey, MIL, good luck with this one. I'm giving it a year." The MIL actually chuckled. Emily shrieked. I spun around and headed for the exit, feeling the tension behind me like a physical force. Everyone was whispering. The music was dead silent. The whole mood had gone from party to total disaster. And honestly, I was loving it. As I got to the door, I stopped and looked back at the crazy scene I was leaving behind. Emily was still arguing with the Emile. My parents looked like they wanted to melt into the floor. The groom was just standing there, looking like he was rethinking his entire life. And me? I gave a little wave, a smug smile on my face. Enjoy your perfect wedding, sis. Then I walked out. I didn't even glance back. I didn't need to. I knew the damage was done. And honestly, it was better than I could have hoped for. As soon as the doors closed behind me, I let out a slow breath and adjusted the weight of the wedding gift under my arm. Petty? Maybe. Worth it? Absolutely. I drove home, not saying a word, letting the silence and the night soak in, replaying everything in my head. My sister's yelling, my mother's panic, my father's silence, the Emile's crazy rage. It was all gold. But I knew the fallout was just starting. And I was right. The next morning, my phone was blowing up. Calls, texts, missed voicemails. Suddenly, everyone in my family remembered I existed. My mom had left 7 voicemails, her voice bouncing between begging and pure rage. Alex, what were you thinking? You embarrassed your sister on the biggest day of her life. Call me back right now. Alex, honey, please. We can talk about this. Just come over. Let's fix this. That was the most childish, selfish thing I have ever seen. I hope you're happy. I hope you enjoyed destroying your sister's wedding. Oh, I did, Mom. I really did. But my sister's texts? Even better. It's over between us. How could you do this? You ruined everything. I can't even look at my wedding photos because of you. You took back your gift? Seriously? What kind of person does that? I hate you. I really, really hate you. I grinned, scrolling through them and sipping my coffee. If Emily thought a few angry texts would make me feel bad, she didn't know me at all. But what really caught my eye? The text from my dad. Unlike my mom and sister, he wasn't screaming or demanding an apology. His texts were short and to the point. Call me when you have a moment. I thought about it for a second before dialing. Dad wasn't one for drama. Usually, he just let Mom and Dash. Emil run the show while he stayed out of it. The fact that he was actually calling meant something was up. He answered on the second ring. Alex. Dad. Long silence. Then he sighed. Why'd you do that? I snorted. Wasn't my fault. They lit the fuse. He sighed again, and for a second, I thought he was gonna yell. But instead, he chuckled. Almost sounded tired. Yeah, they kinda did. That caught me off guard. Wait, you're on my side? I didn't say that, he said, but his voice was different. Softer. But I saw what happened. And I saw how your mom and sister treated you. It wasn't right. I leaned back in my chair. So what? You're not gonna blame me? Another pause. Not just me. Turns out, things didn't just go back to normal after I left. The damage I did was permanent. The Emile totally lost it after I called Emily out. She chewed her out in front of everyone, demanding to know if I was telling the truth. And Emily, being Emily, panicked. Tried to lie and play innocent. But apparently, the Emile had already been suspicious about her. What I said just broke the camel's back. By the time the party ended, the Emile had pretty much cut Emily off. And the groom? He was furious. He thought Emily and his mom got along great. He had no idea Emily had been talking trash about her. Finding out that way, in front of everyone. Yeah, not good for a new marriage. According to Dad, he and Emily had a huge fight that night. As in, maybe we should rethink this whole marriage. Huge. And my parents? They were stuck in the middle. Mom tried to smooth things over, but the Emile wasn't having it. She blamed Mom for raising a spoiled brat and told her she didn't want Emily anywhere near her family. Total disaster. So what's the situation now? I asked, actually curious. Dad sighed again. Emily's, well, she's not taking it well. I rolled my eyes. Surprise, surprise. She's blaming you for everything. She thinks if you hadn't said anything, none of this would have happened. I laughed. Of course she does. God forbid she take responsibility for her own actions. Dad was quiet for a second. Then he said, "She wants you to apologize." I almost choked on my coffee. Apologize? She thinks it's the only way to fix things. He went on. She thinks if you just take the blame, maybe the MIL will forgive her, and things can go back to normal. I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I figured, Dad said. And then, quietly, and I don't think you should anyway. That actually stopped me. Wait. Seriously? I told you, Alex. I saw what happened. And honestly, maybe it's time someone called her out. That meant more than I wanted to let on. So what now? I asked. Dad sighed. Again. Your mom's still trying to play peacemaker with the MIL, but I don't think it's gonna work. She's beyond mad. The groom? He's barely talking to Emily. He paused. And as for Emily, well, she's a mess. Good, I said to myself. Should have thought of that before being two-faced. I didn't say it out loud, but I wasn't gonna pretend I didn't feel good about it. My sister had spent years making me feel like I didn't measure up. Treating me like I wasn't good enough, wasn't worth a darn. Like I was some kind of inconvenience. And now she was finally seeing the results of her choices. Long overdue. Anyway, Dad kept going. I just figured you deserved to know what's going on. Your mom's probably gonna try to call you again. She can try, I said, shrugging. I'm not answering. Dad chuckled, just a little bit. Can't say I blame you. And that was it. It's been a few weeks since that wedding nightmare, and honestly, I haven't talked to my sister since. She still won't take any blame, still says it's all my fault, and still thinks I should fix it for her. As if. I don't regret a single thing I did. If anything, I'm proud of myself for taking the initiative. And the marriage? Well, let's just say I wouldn't bet my paycheck on it lasting. So what do you guys think? Did I go too far? Should I have just kept my mouth shut and played nice? Or did my sister get exactly what she deserved? Let me know. I could use a good laugh, or at least a head nod of agreement.